Good evening and welcome back to Prime of Midlife. It's Wednesday evening and this evening we are talking Gen X. I am one of those and I have even joined the follow train on TikTok. Prime of Midlife is there. I haven't done much with it at the moment, but today was certainly a day of thinking, what happens? And the reason I'm thinking what happens is Kathleen had another puncture today and she didn't have the one fixed from before. It was getting done on payday, but the car's at the side of the road. So I had to go and pick her up last night. I had to take the tyre into town today to get it fixed. So it's cost me a lot of time and money to get her car fixed, to get her back on the road. And she's just said she have a wheel brace because I didn't get a wheel brace with the car. It's like, right, fine, okay. Now, obviously, Dad was a mechanic. We had wheel braces. We had wheel braces galore in the garage. We don't have a garage. We barely have a shed. I have the wheel brace for my van. That's what I have. So Kathleen's now looking to get a wheel brace so that she can go and fit the tyre tomorrow while I'm at work or after I come back from work so I can drive her there so she can fit it. Now I know how to fit a tyre or fit a wheel. Fit a wheel is better. I know how to do that. I know to do the nuts diagonally so that you don't have it squinty, one side sticking out and the other side and it goes all squinty and whatever. We need to try and check what kind of jack she's got, where it's sitting so we can get it jacked up, that we're not blocking the road, etc, etc. I know all that. How much of it Kathleen knows? Not quite so sure, but that's what I'm there for. You know, you learn from your parents. However, there's a whole lot of not learning going on just now because we're so many generations down from people who fix their own cars, have wheel braces with different sized pointy bits on them, different sizes, the four-way wheel brace. There's so many things. I was just thinking, looking at the house, how many people of the younger generation can put up a curtain rail? Now I know how to do it. I'm not the best. Please don't put my blinds down at a rate of knots because the clips for the blinds will come off. But they hold the blinds. They have done for many, many years, as long as you don't zip them down too quickly. I've put curtain rails up. I've put curtain poles up. I've changed light bulbs. I know that there's bayonet and screw fix. And the screw fix comes in the big fat ones and the wee skinny ones. I also know, thanks to Patrick, granted, but I have picked up from him that if you have a dimmer switch and you put LED lights, LED bulbs in, they probably will not work if it's an old dimmer switch and new LED light bulbs. They go burst so quickly. I mean, I went through about 12 bulbs before I decided right enough. And when I changed them, I still haven't changed the bulbs in my sitting room now for over a year. I think I went through 12 bulbs in a year the last time. And it was the LED with the dimmer. So little things like that. Like before Mum and Dad had to leave their house, the downstairs toilet backed up. I knew where the draining rods were, I knew what drain lid to lift, I knew what way the water flowed, I knew how to fix it. Does your kid? I know Kathleen didn't because we never lived there. Well, we lived there until she was about 4. So she never had to know that. I did because I was there when I was an adult. Do we know to leave the vent bricks clear when you're putting your gravel in? You know, silly little things like that that could cost a huge amount. Like, I mean, poor Kathleen, God bless her. You know, Granddad was a mechanic. Did she listen to him? No. She's had 2 punctures and she also had to have an injector replaced. Now, why did we have to have an injector replaced? We're not really sure, but we're presuming because she's running it on zero fuel. Because she's skint. Girl doesn't make that much money. Granted, she spends it where she shouldn't sometimes, but I'm saying this, I'm blaming Kathleen for all this. I'm just saying it's Kathleen. It's not always Kathleen. It can be her friends that I'm mentioning, but I'm just using Kathleen's name. Please don't think she's that bad, even if she does drive me nuts sometimes. But it is things like that. It's like, don't drive your car onto 0 miles for fuel, because you'll pick up the dirt and debris from the bottom of the petrol or diesel tank. It'll pull through your injectors. You'll need to get your injectors replaced. Check your oil and water once a month just to make sure. Make sure it's on flat ground. Make sure you do it with a cool engine. Things like that. You know, things that you need to check for your household to make sure your car keeps going, to make sure your house keeps going. You know, check your electrical points. If something's going a bit iffy, then get it checked. Big thing here in the UK just now, and seemingly in the USA as well, is electric e-bikes. Do not charge them inside the house. Charge them in a shed or a garage. If you have to charge them inside the house, don't charge them anywhere near where you sleep, and do not charge them anywhere near an exit, because seemingly when they go off, they go poof, like a bomb, like a whole big bang type thing. And you've got to get out that house. You've got to get your family out that house. And this is a big thing. And I think that, you know, this is me trying not to be controversial here, but I do think that the younger generations have lost out on a lot of knowledge, because a lot of it is just expected. Well, Dad will fix it, or, you know, the government needs to fix it, or somebody else will fix it. But just looking at what the kids today are doing, how many can change their own wheel? I'm not asking for them to be a mechanic. How many of them can put their spare tyre on? How many of them can change the light bulbs? How many of them know where the cold water stopcock is in their house or their flat if it goes wrong? How many of them know if the electricity goes off, where to go and check the breakers? And I think there's a lot they have not been taught. And it's a generational thing. Gen X learned a lot of it via osmosis. And we were so pleased when our kids didn't have to work as hard, when they didn't have to do so many things for themselves, that we've forgotten that actually that was quite a good thing. Yes, if you had to do all your own work on the car, it was like, oh, they're so poor, they have to do all their own work in the car. I can afford a mechanic. Actually, if you're up in the middle of Glencoe in Scotland and you get a flat, knowing a mechanic isn't much use to you. Knowing how to change your flat tyre for the spare, that's a really good skill to have. Knowing to check your oil and water, knowing where to put your screen wash, things like that, they're really good skills to have. Knowing how to cook the basics. You know, knowing what can go in the air fryer, knowing what can be fried, knowing what can be boiled, knowing what can be slow cooked, etc., etc., etc. Those are really good skills. And what happens when Gen X isn't here anymore? Because the younger ones at the moment are still turning to Gen X when they're stuck. They're turning to their parents, they're turning to their grandparents and saying, what do I do? What do I do? What happens when Gen X isn't there to tell them what to do? I think I need to make a book. I need to make many, many books. But we need to have a manual. We need to have a manual for the basics. You know, I mean, the guy who did the stuff that you wish your dad had told you or whatever, I don't know if that's the actual YouTube channel, but it was the guy who grew up without a dad. So he put out YouTube videos of stupid things like how to change your wheel and how to tie your tie. Simple things that people don't need every single day of their life. But oh my goodness, it's a really good skill to have. So yeah, I think we need to put one of them together. Ideas in the comments below and we'll start making a big thing. I think I need to go back to Discord and start the big thing. Yeah, so I'm going to shut up now and go and get this uploaded and I'll catch you later.